I'm afraid that Inch with these new creeps can even break through.
Yeah.
It is a strong. I still like the Timber a lot. Like I convinced myself at this point that Polaris shouldn't just pick Timber.
I wouldn't mind seeing it, yeah. I would get scared putting Pango in the offlane just because his health pool is like so low, it's so easy to die. Maybe with Io it's
He'll get
okay.
crushed.
Yeah.
I think he'll get crushed. I think what will happen is if he goes there with Io's just gonna feed, and then basically after Io's dead, Pango can't lane. So it is a hard lane, but they can address it still. But you're on the right idea. They need something tanky or something that can spam and try to survive. I mean, I don't know what's really out there outside of Timber that is going to be like a worthy like last pick, right? Whatever they pick last for their offlaner has to have impact, and a lot of it.
I think Force plays a lot of generic offlanes. He plays the Tide, Pango, Mars, Magnus. He's played some weird stuff in the past, like Enigma's not that popular anymore, but
Underlord, it could be good too.
He didn't play it last season, but
Underlord IO, that sounds pretty memey.
I love Underlord. The new ult is so cool.
It's so good. With IO, that would be like some cool stuff.
You said you hadn't gotten to play the new patch much, right?
I haven't played a ton, but I have actually played Underlord.
Oh hell yeah! Have you experimented at all with the Vlad's upgrade? Because I feel like Underlord with his passive that reduces damage plus the Vlad's reducing damage feels like a really nice way to just nullify PA from doing anything in a fight, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I have not seen that item once, and I looked at it and it looks too expensive. But maybe it does have a place. I just haven't seen it too much.
Yeah, I haven't seen anyone buy it, so I'm like, is this item just terrible?
It's too expensive, I think.
Oh.
It costs a lot.
Yeah, that's a shame.
You guys have definitely brainstormed a lot about this potential last pick at the Polaris, but final takes on who it's going to be. Get one guess each.
5 seconds
Timber Saw just because I want to see it.
I think I would prefer Timber as my #1, but maybe something absolutely out of left field like Doom. Yeah, eat the creep. Eat the creep. They give him decent armor now, right?
High level.
Oh!
I'm better than Fear. Let's go! Let's go!
It still has the restriction of creep level, right?
Yeah.
So that doesn't really help much for Cinch if she just takes the big creep, right?
Well, we can just block the camps with the big creeps.
Alrighty, I like where you're going, and I want to ask you guys some more, but I also want to ask Lyrical and GoDz their thoughts about these two lineups. Especially Lyrical, hello, it's the first time we're seeing you
Lyrical!
on the broadcast.
Hi.
How are you? Please give us your thoughts about these final drafts.
I'm doing great. They picked the Doom in that second game that they're going against Enigma Galaxy. Also, I had to bust out the jacket.
You're looking
because
fly,
did
bro.
Too. He looked so pretty. I just had to do it.
I like we've gone for the blue-black combo here, and then these guys are just the black on black. But GoDz, where do your predictions lay and thoughts for these drafts?
I'm excited. We haven't seen T1 in a little bit, other than in Pro Series. I think that, it's time for them to kind of make their name known again. I definitely give them the edge in terms of just who they are as a team, and I think draft-wise they've got a pretty solid draft. So, slightly lean towards T1 here.
I look forward to seeing what they're going to do, but quickly before we do go, I want series predictions from you guys. Super quick.
Oh,
The whole series, huh?
Yep. Super quick. You start, Sheep.
2-1 to Polaris.
2-0 T1.
Okay, well there you go. That's what we're sitting over here on the panel. But GoDz and Lyrical, please let me know your predictions and take it away for game #1.
oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Nat. GoDz, I don't know. I'm kind of digging the 2-1 Polaris. I know you were saying that you like the T1 Fear, just like no mercy. But I think it's just because I have a soft spot in my heart for like the underdog story. That's what it is.
Oh, and we love a good underdog story here. I feel like definitely Polaris has just been constantly riding this kind of high in this momentum, going through crushing Division 2, even with like some really tough battles against NGX and former Orca. We won't talk too much about them, but I think Polaris has what it takes to take a game. As for the whole series, I'm gonna go a bit more in Fear's corner and say T1, but I'll go with the 2-1 then.
All right. Well, I'm excited to see if it ends up happening. Either way, 3 games would be absolutely great for the series. I do think that we're into the game now, so we can hop right on into that one. But I think to me, the big dynamic is going to be like, what's the play style look like? Because previously, the series that Polaris won, they had Medusa 2 games in a row. They just like farm, stacked up that triangle. I want to see how T1 react to that because it was really clear that like that was their game plan the entire time.
Yeah, and based on their draft, it seems like they're sticking to their game plan. Even without the Medusa, they go for the tiny carry, who's probably one of the next best stack farming heroes. They have the Shadow Demon again to make all those stacks. So it does seem they've got this kind of clear, distinct way where they feel like this is how they can get the most farm and resources out of the map. And, a big part of Dota, gather resources, outfarm your opponents, and then use that, farm advantage to basically win fights, take objectives.
Right. Can I be honest with you a second? I thought that there wasn't going to be a pause when I put this jacket on. I'm going to start sweating, so I'm going to take this thing off. How do you do it, dude? Honestly, like I'm about to die here.
We got air conditioning down here in California. I know you get colder weather up there, so
right.
You don't need the AC, but here we just live in AC 24/7.
That's fair enough. Yeah, I think it's going to be like really interesting to watch. We were talking a little bit about it while the panel was talking about the draft. This Enchantress, new shenanigans with the troll, to me feels like one of the most broken things I've seen in Dota in a really long time. So I want to see if because it feels like that's kind of the answer, right? Take down that mid-tier 1 early, and then you shut off the triangle away from Polaris. I want to see if Polaris have any answers to that.
Yeah, and I think in Dota, there's not actually that many heroes that will help you take towers like pre-10 minutes. There's only maybe 3 or 4 out there. And Ench is one, Leshrek's another with level 4 Edict early on, which they actually banned. So I feel like Polaris are almost game planning around, we need to keep our towers up early if we want to outgreed our opponents. So the Ench is a good way to approach it. We'll see, if that's going to be enough and if they can get that tower, because something you comment on is that Polaris were really good at defending their towers when they played against NGX.
Right. There was just constant movement back into there, bringing a bunch of heroes. And we are actually going to hop into the game now. Game number 1, T1 versus Polaris, and already a smoke out by T1 to see how they can make the move. The other thing is, I feel like a lot of people looking at this Polaris team, they see all these names. It's not ones that they recognize that much. But this was the old Adroit roster picked up by Polaris. They almost qualified that last major leading up to the start of the COVID era. And this team was looking really good, and now coming back together again. I'm excited to see the future for them.
Yeah, and they're not really strangers to Division 1. There was, they kind of lost their slot because of just, the way the ownership of Division 1 slots worked. So they're a team that essentially, at least a big part of this team, played in Division 1 before. They had to play through Division 2 to get back there. But, no surprises to see this team playing Division 1 Dota.
Absolutely.
30 seconds to battle.
As Ward has dropped down on the bottom side of the map right there. To scout out any couriers that are coming over. Another one placed down in mid. And at least at the moment, nothing really too surprising with the lanes. We're probably going to Savius heading on over to the jungle to stack up these Ancients over and over again. They already have an Observer Ward in the area to make sure that nobody comes in to come and contest that and stop the stacks from happening. As Force going to get chased down a little bit here. With Zephyr in the area, it's actually a good chunk of damage. Quick bringing him down, but with Mavis in the area having that extra bit of regen from the headdress, he should be perfectly fine.
Yeah, Whitemon already making it clear that he's going for the enchant build. I feel like there's a bit of variation with the ench build. Some going for I would say the puppy build, 044, no points in impetus, and then you have the ench players who want to do more in lane, harass, and they go for the impetus build. So we'll see which way he goes with his later skill points, but I think the more effective way to play is around your enchant and the nature's attendance.
Right. Yeah, making yourself just really hard to kill with that regen, and then obviously the early pressure that you can put on with those creeps that are super duper broken nowadays.
Yeah, definitely want to max that enchant as early as possible. Like you say, super broken creeps, and if you can get an early medallion, you can just chuck your creep at a tower, put a medallion on it, give it some bonus armor, and it'll shred through towers.
And down bottom, Cuckoo actually skilling up that Burrow Strike. I think that was to secure one of the runes. So that is going to be a little bit of an interesting lane setup for him.
Yeah, I think it's probably still fine for lane. Level 1 Caustic is okay, not great. I mean, the base damage is pretty good on it, but probably okay just to secure a range creep if you need to use it, or to, you know, stun the enemy hero while you grab a creep. So we'll see how he does here. Definitely feels like a kind of tricky-ish lane. There is that kill threat with Bar Strike setting up a lot of hoodwink spells, but Io is going to just offer all kinds of sustain for a time.
Oh, and Force already gets brought down. First blood up top. Not necessarily what you would have expected.
Everyone always underestimates PA's kill threat in lane, I feel. Like, we saw this in the last Division 2 series. It's PA level 1 with a Nyx just gets first blood.
Right. Yeah, and the double slow there with Enchant and the dagger, it makes it kind of tough. And, you know, you mentioned the impetus for harassment, but even just that casual Blightstone, really effective against this Doom that has already high armor.
Yeah, and Ench already has a creep, something, you know, Fear mentioned, you can't just devour these creeps. There is still that level cap that you have to deal with, so it's not going to be the easiest time up here for Force if Enchantress gets access to these big creeps.
Right. They are doing at least a decent job. As well, down bottom, you can take a look as well. Not really that much to write home about here. Natsumi doing perfectly fine last hitting against the Sand King. Only 4 last hits for him. But yeah, the danger up there is definitely going to be real, and they're going to have to play around whenever those Ench creeps come in. But Xavius already going to pull the wave back behind the tower. Does redraw aggro with the illusions. That's a little bit unfortunate. And Xavius now just going to have to TP out now.
Yeah, that's brutal. TPs they're more expensive, you know, than they were many years ago. So using that TP early on means he doesn't have that TP to the lane. He's out of mana too. Like, I just don't feel like he can do much here. If he goes for another wave pull, he's gonna die. So his lane is kind of tricky until his courier can get out with some extra regen.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem. This is really good though. Force able to get the ice armor creep. So that keeps them a lot more survivable. Oh, that's a good point. All right.
Okay, recounts. It's called, 4-second cooldown, 5-second cooldown. It's fine.
Yeah, he's going to be good. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's a good way to stay alive in this lane.
Oh, yeah. This is, you know, historically, I think, you know, but back when the neutral creeps, there was like 5 neutral creeps to get. Nowadays, it's like 20 or 30. This was always one of the best ones to get. I think it used to give even more than 5 armor. It used to give like 8 armor or something absurd.
Yeah. Well, and now he's definitely going to need it because currently the lowest in the last hits of all the cores. You can see mid going relatively even-ish, a slight lead in terms of experience, but that's just mainly because the creeps haven't died there. Xavius moves on over, gets the bounty rune, and likewise there's going to be a rotation down from Luge, who's going to pick up the bounty as well.
Yeah. Probably not too much happening around mid until maybe the 6-minute mark when all the supports show up and they're like, hey, we got to get out mid the power rune, and then maybe even then I don't think the mids are going to die. That's usually when the supports die. They're like trying to secure a rune and they end up being the casualty.
Look out for fallen rocks.
Danger indeed. And Force still keeping this wave up here top against Gabby. And actually catch down bottom for a second. Natsumi taking a little bit of pummeling. 0 armor on this Tiny, and in fact with Cuckoo here, they'd be able to do some extra damage, but no, they bring on in the IO, and that'll be more than enough regen to get Natsumi out.
Yeah. Still feels like Cuckoo's in for a good time. He's already got the double bracer going in. Hoodwink's just this like perfect pairing. Speaking of Hoodwink, snipes another courier. Already Natsumi miss-microed his, and now IO's going to walk his into Hoodwink, so, you know, just that little bit of extra gold and just nuisance when they can't ferry out more regen. It just feels like Cuckoo's going to go unanswered here. IO Tiny just don't have the kill threat needed to bring him down.
No, and then this is, as you did see, the Ember head all the way back on home, pre-6, so he's going to have to walk back out afterwards.
Balance
but
in all things.
Still doing fine on Carl.
Yeah, doing fine, but, you know, slightly bad news when you've got to walk your way back out. He doesn't actually have the money to buy a TP as well, so he's not going to be having TP to play around, but he'll make the walk and just be slightly hit level 6 a bit slower. So he's just going to be careful. Like that 6-minute rune battle may be something where, you know, he's exposed.
Force taking a lot of hits here and trying to bring down Gabby with Xavius' magic damage, but the jump away comes on out, and Force, they have one more impetus shot, but not going to go for it. Those creeps were on him.
Gabby, I think, could have committed to get the kill, but he knew he would have died in the process. Like, one more poison hitting him and some right clicks would have been his death. So I think smart for him not to trade his life for the Dooms, and knows that he's got the Ench there to kind of heal him back up if needed. Well, no points in the heal, going for the impetus. So They are
Yeah.
sticking for that kind of let's go for kills theme with the lane.
Interesting. Yeah, and if they can get it, that'd be really good. But this ice armor has been super annoying for them. Whitemon comes on in again.
It's a lifesaver. Like, it legit changed how this lane goes. So definitely, you know, a bit of RNG when you run into that. He ran all the way to the enemy outpost to go look for it and just happened to find the correct one.
Oh. You can see more stacks going on right now. There are many of them. Whitemon actually is going to take... Oh, he got the creep, though. Okay. What can they do with this? We'll see. Xavius spots it out. This would be big if they could actually kill it right now. They might actually go for killing it. No, he's going to try and take the stacks.
It's like he knows it's being scouted out. And with a regen rune, he can just spam his spells out to clear this camp.
Don't run off.
Xavier's he's got no TP.
He's mega dead.
Yeah.
Pick up there. Lelouch pops the regen now, realizing that there is the Ench still in the area. Breaks the regen. Still has ulti. And more skeletons summoned. Already getting that rallied action. And I think Whitemon's going to come on towards mid with this.
This is a 5-position hero playing 1v2 in the enemy jungle. Everything's fine here. Yeah, don't worry. I mean,
oh my god.
So
ridiculous.
I love it. I mean, this is what Ench is all about. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with Ench doing it. This is literally why you pick this hero, because you are like the best laning stage hero in Dota. Yeah. Cuckoo's being done on bottom.
Roll afterwards, tries to time it perfectly, and they do manage to connect there. So Cuckoo gets down to the low ground with the jump forward, and yeah, they brought enough heroes. They're gonna kill off the Sand King.
They did bring enough, but enough was 4 heroes, so it was a big commitment. And you look elsewhere, like I was going to say Gabby's free farm, but he actually got very low up top. But they are going to get a return kill.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
It does feel like, you know, it's a pretty big investment from Polaris to get that kill there on Cuckoo.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, particularly losing the Doom hurts a lot. At the very least, there isn't going to be a great potential steal of the stack now from T1 since they've already taken care of the hard camp. I don't think that they really have the wherewithal to be able to take down Ancients. As 8-minute mark, Rune gonna spawn up on the top side, and that's a DD Rune. No. Xavius? Oh, he wants to get on over and take it, but yeah, he can't do it.
Maybe trying to make some disruption, deny play there, but yeah, he couldn't get in without definitely dying.
Is under attack.
So we'll see him continue to stack these Ancients probably, but that's been, scouted out and something that they're well aware of. Whitemon just constantly getting in to take away this big creep, so just taking away some of those important resources from the Doom, from the Tiny later on. Recognizing that, you know, when you play Polaris, you're kind of in this economy battle when it comes to the early and mid game. They're not a team that's going to run at you and force fights. They're just looking to hit more of these mid to late game timings.
And so far, at least, they've been able to sort of get by without that much pressure on, at least in terms of like structural damage. But T1 is still out farming them a little bit. A slight gold lead, not huge, but obviously some of that's going to be the stacks that get picked up. But a smoke up comes now. Carl wanting to make use of this DD, and Force is in their sights. Does he get brought down? He has 21 armor right now with the ice armor on him. But will he be able to survive through the chase? The root is there. DD wants to run away. I don't know if they can kill him. He's too strong. He actually turns.
This TP's coming in.
Yeah, got to be careful. The banish is out afterwards, and yeah, Force will be able to move on in and take down Whitemon. So the rotations were good.
Yeah, and it's, I think for a T1, you look at like what Gabby did there, and it's like smart of him not to try and commit for the kill. And the fact they scanned, they fully understood that as soon as they went for the kill, they're like, yeah, we messed up. We got to just get out. And unfortunately for Ench, she can't run away the same as the others, but they cut their losses here, and Cuckoo will do what he can to try and defend their T1 tower top. But you know, great response from Polaris to make sure that Carl and this Ember isn't kind of getting the snowball going with making these rotations and getting these early kills.
Yeah, just dodging fights that they don't want to take on the side of Polaris. A haste rune ball of Lelouch as well. And can they really do anything with this? Again, it feels like it's going to be what, like you're talking about, not really a huge emphasis on trying to fight with this. And do you think it's like incumbent upon T1 to try and push the tempo at all? Or do you think they're going to be happy if this goes later with like the PA Ember combo?
They're not feeling under too much pressure, and Gabby PA, kind of signature pick of his. He's going to be more than comfortable with this game, kind of slowly dragging towards late game. I don't think there's like a clear carry advantage for Tiny over the PA either. If anything, like once PA gets kind of farmed enough, Tiny doesn't like building MKB. Your Avatos combo, you know, kind of the damage is kind of capped. So once PA gets BKB and some, you know, like Satanic in there, you're not going to be killing her with your magic damage combo. But it's not all about the carry matchup. You've got things like Doom who can, you know, make the PA's life difficult, particularly if you know, want to get an Acceptor or something.
Right. Well, and he is already going for the Hand of Midas, and that's queued up for Force. And actually going to move on in and take down Whitemon again. So getting a little bit too greedy, trying to shut down these farming stuff going on in the jungle.
Yeah, he's trying to help them win the kind of farm advantage, but at some point, you know, those deaths are adding to their farm, and these kills give a bit more gold than they perhaps used to. So something that Whitemon has to be wary of. I think he'd maybe be better off just playing a bit more on his side of the map, making some stacks as well. Like, the PA doesn't have a big ancient stack. Often you see these PAs that, like, 14, 15 minutes in when they get their Battle Fury, it looks like it's going to be faster, like a 13-minute Battle Fury, have like a 4 or 5 stack at the ancients, and that's something T1 haven't put any investment into making.
That's I mean, obviously you can still get a lot of farm going once it does come up, but that huge injection of gold afterwards to turn you into that next fighting item is so often the thing that you're looking for. And Carl, will he get lucky on the rune? It's an arcane. It's a pretty good one for the Ember Spirit. And again, they're going to start heading up to the triangle. Nobody's home, though. Force is off behind the tier 1 tower. Everybody else is rotated to the Radiant jungle. This is not going to connect. They might get a courier kill, but you want more than that.
Yeah. Sanking Blink, and I think this is where T1 are reveal themselves out of smoke. Force knows he's made the right read to hide by his tower, but it does feel like, yeah, you know, T1 want to make some moves using this Sanking Blink timing now. They've got a lot of follow-up damage with Sharpshooter from Hoodwink. The Enchantress can always follow it up with some tower pressure, but it's always tricky because they want to be catching their opponents by surprise. They can't just push down a lane, because once they do, they're, you know, inviting Polaris to get the jump on them. It really feels like a game of whoever gets that jump and starts the team fight off is going to have the advantage until the BKBs come up.
Good read by Cuckoo there. Saw the hero and immediately jumped away. Yeah. Lelouch actually smoke didn't even break from it. He was that quick on it and hiding behind the tower now. So Cuckoo really heads up. Good read of the situation, and they're going to roll right in. Okay. Dust pops out, looking to the side. Trees are going to be broken, and can they have any extra follow-up here? Oh, good blink out. Cuckoo, he's so good.
Yeah, he hugs the wall there. Like,
oh, wait, but Carl?
Okay.
In trouble. Cuckoo's got to turn this, but he doesn't have a blink for a little while. So Force gets the kill, and oh, unfortunate. Not anticipating the Doom coming out there and gets punished hard.
Yeah, just completely caught by surprise there. You know, maybe miscommunication, because Cuckoo was just out. He'd used his blink to escape. His Barrow Strike was also on cooldown because he'd used that to try and escape. So there was no way for T1 to really fight there. Like, PA's not coming to the fight. She just finished Battle Fury, but, you know, PA's this, like, 2-item hero. You don't take the 5v5 fights with PA until you get that second item. And if it's a Desolator, you're not starting the fight. You're coming in later on. So realistically, PA shines with that BKB timing. So, you know, bit of a minor slip up for T1, but at the same time, they lose a tower and they lose Carl there. So it's kind of like a 1 to 2k gold swing all of a sudden. And it is Polaris who suddenly have a sizable lead in this game.
Yeah, the Diffusal Blade for Lelouch as well on this this Pango. It's going to be super annoying for a couple of these heroes that kind of depend upon that mana early on. So we'll see if this ends up coming back to bite him at all. As Xavius is just being chased by a creep that he burrowed up. That's fine. Perfectly good stuff there. Yeah. But he kills it off there afterwards. Lelouch thinking about rolling in, but they back away.
Thought someone might show up, but Gabby's nearby. Maybe he wants to farm this one, but once he sees Lelouch, he may either reconsider, or they may feel like they've got numbers and can kill Lelouch.
Centaur there. Has another swashbuckle in a moment and gonna jump away, but they know he's back behind the tower. I mean, if he shows you've got a great jump with Cuckoo, but the question is, will they actually be able to get it? Zephyr hides on in, jumps in, Burrow Strike, the stun. It's not going to connect, but the break is there afterwards. Tries to roll out and able to get away. Lelouch actually escapes the relocate afterwards. Natsumi, he's going to do so much damage if they can find him in the time, and they will be able to. Avatos, Cuckoo dead. I mean, they missed the stun, and instead they get punished for it.
Yeah. But as soon as they make that move, they look to be making a jump on top. They know, well, I don't know if he knows, but Doom is still in cooldown, luckily, for 5 more seconds, so Carl is safe for now.
In. Natsumi moving into position, looking for the right click. Will it be there? Avalanche, and they have round 2 if they need it. Doom not needed for the kill. Polaris, look at him go.
Baits him in. I think that was a decent idea for T1 to, like, okay, they just committed relocate and resources to defend bottom. We should be able to make a play top, but you can't make that play with just 2 heroes. They needed, I think, ideally the Hoodwink there as well. They needed at least that 3rd hero.
Oh, and the Doom comes out afterwards with the stomp follow-up. They take down Gabby. Another death, and they're just all over the place.
Yeah, and often teams like this are, finding these kills, and it's like, oh, it's just a support hero there. No, that's back-to-back kills on Ember. Carl is 0-2-0. Gabby, the carry PA, the late game poke dying as well. And they defend mid.
Wants to go, jumps in, and gonna be saved for a moment. The tower falls. Will they be able to bring it down Natsumi? He's very low broken. Can he get away? Cuckoo's already dead, but they've caught up there on the side, and he's gonna be fine. Meanwhile, Carl's gonna go down. Zephyr also in trouble. They go down one by one. Everybody from T1's gone.
Just fighting before they're ready and fighting, like, uncoordinated. Like, Sanking goes in when PA's... I think the PA needs to come to a fight like that, even without that second item, but, like, Sanking kind of goes in alone without backup on a Tiny of all heroes. Like, that's Tiny has 2,000 health, an Io potentially to back him up, a Shadow Demon Disruption to back him up. It just didn't feel like T1 were set up to defend, yet they still forced a defense that just really wasn't that wise.
And going right on into Roche afterwards, a 5,000 gold lead, 17 minutes in. Polaris, they've gotten everything that they needed. The panel Fear was talking about, maybe Polaris being ready for this one and T1 struggling a little bit. And we're starting to see that Polaris came in with a great idea and they're executing it perfectly.
Oh, yeah. They are playing their drafts so well. They, the early game lanes were, a little slow and weak. They're playing against Ent. They're IO Tiny, it's this combo that isn't, meant to shine in the lanes. They're meant to shine in the mid game. And once they survived the lanes and didn't let the Ent get too much, they're dominating.
Meanwhile, they roll in, looking for one. They find him. Whitemon again in trouble. And they have a relocate away, but it's going to be more than enough for the kill here. And, well, to the side, they actually run into Cuckoo as well. Dust is out. They got him caught. Burrow strikes there. Can they find a follow-up? Looking for the jump forward. Oh, but the banish is out. And now Cuckoo in trouble will die again on the other side. They also end up losing Zephyr. I mean, what's going on?
Yeah, T1 not looking like they brought their A-game today. Cuckoo just couldn't quite blink far enough away. I think he maybe somehow accidentally clicked unpassable air because he didn't blink very far. And
Radiant are scanning.
This is
yeah, trying to get to the other side, you mean?
Yeah, I think he tried to jump over the waterfall on that left side of the map, but did a little mini blink. But yeah, Polaris is just connecting from one kill to the next. They're just owning this game here in the mid game. They're not done.
Looking really good. Looking for more. There it is, Whitemon. Another quick jump in, and then they find the kill. Force has had a fabulous game so far. Obviously, a lot of that's set up by the ice armor creep, but you got to take good advantage of the luck when it's given to you. And he's been doing it.
Take a tier 1 tower bottom. This is where they can just go from objective to objective with a Tiny Aegis and an Io back overcharging this Tiny. These towers are going to melt. And T1, they don't have the best wave clear. At least they don't have any safe wave clear. Like, Sanking pushes waves, but he can't just clear a wave that's being pushed because he has to commit his hero. So it's very hard to defend these pushes since they don't have this, safe long-range spam that can clear out waves.
And, if you do happen to get out for a moment and, any of these heroes find you, it's a pretty easy setup for the relocate gank, considering it's Tiny to the backup. So maybe T1 could do some type of a bait play. Oh, they're baiting over here to the side though. Dude, surely they don't fall for this one. No, they gotta know that that's an illusion. They jump forward. Looks to the side there instead. Roll up.
The bar.
Stuns. And it's in trouble, but the Avatos comes in and Lelouch gets away again. Oh, Cuckoo is in trouble, and Natsumi comes on in for the double kill. Pretty as can be.
Yeah, He wanted to turn and go for the kill there, but he threw a defusal out. Unfortunately, yeah, Cuckoo was kind of blindly guessing where to hit the Burrow Strike. Like, it looked like a complete, you know, it was a miss, but he was going in blind. And if he doesn't insta-Burrow Strike, maybe Pango gets his spells off, so he had to go for the insta-Burrow Strike.
This one is good at least. They for the side of T1, they managed to bait out the Doom. Whitemon right behind, keeps Carl alive with the extra Nature's Attendants, and obviously the enchant to slow down the Doom. So no 2 minutes now with no Doom.
Gives them some breathing room, maybe even some playmaking room. They're still playing into an Aegis Tiny, but imagine they'd love to try and find some kills elsewhere on the map.
Minute and a half left on that one. I'm gonna have to check out the numbers after this on how many camps were stacked, because even at this stage, we're continuing to see so much emphasis placed on that by Polaris.
Yeah.
Their economy game is sick.
Every time, yeah, exactly. Every time you look at their jungle, it's like, oh, there's a double stack, a triple stack. Tiny was just stacking for himself at times. Like, he goes to farm a cap, and he's just always making those min-max moves. And as a team, they're just on point.
Xavius down bottom with so much emphasis on getting these camps stacked up. He's almost got a full Aghanim Scepter done. That's devastating.
It really is. That makes PA's game so sad to play. And she's probably seen these components coming. She's like, they're going to have to find a way to kill this Shadow Demon. Like, probably that's going to be Carl's job to just jump the Shadow Demon. Basically, if you die in the process, at least it's going to enable Gabby to kill people, because there's no Disruption save and no Demonic Purge to worry about with the break.
Gabby's also going for an Aghanim Scepter, actually. So a little bit of an unorthodox option, but recognizing that he needs to like find that one kill and chain it into more afterwards.
Yeah, I think the cooldown reduction's really nice alongside like the instant cast range and the resetting of spells.
Yeah,
but having that short cooldown just means he can really try and get onto the back line.
Cuckoo gets popped again. Xavius able to find him and turns into a quick relocate kill. But yeah, that's the Aghanim Scepter coming out right now, and Gabby appreciating what Lucian's been doing. I'm not sure what that one was, if there's a miss little swashbuckler or something, but nonetheless, Polaris absolutely in control of this game number one. 13,000 gold lead at 22 minutes.
Brutal. They're just running over him. 17-3 as well. It feels like they've just got complete map control wherever they want. You know, T1 here or there will poke its way out on the map, but anytime they show they're being ran at, being forced away from farm, and Polaris are just constantly out farming, getting further and further ahead.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, right? Like this team, they've been sort of really working, it feels like, for a long time on trying to just pull together the perfect combination of gameplay mechanics together. They basically were like, all right, this is going to be our one last shot to try and like see if we can make it happen together as a squad going into the next round of TI qualifiers. So this is really all on the line for them here. And if they can start off their season with 2 wins under their belt against the quality of teams that we're seeing here, would be amazing. But T1, I mean, I don't know if they're going to let it happen to them easy.
Oh no. And I think that's a really good point, because Polaris, this is not a team that's just trying to stay in Division 1. This is a team that has major aspirations and has the potential to go to a major. But to get there, you're going to have to, you know, not go 7-0, but you need to beat some of those top teams. You need to beat a T1 or a Fnatic or an SMG to get there. And upsetting T1 in your opening series would be a great start.
And there's no jump in. A full combo out now.
God.
Just gets obliterated. Carl nowhere left to go. And now Cuckoo gonna get chased down also. The stomp doesn't even need the Doom. Can save it afterwards for Gabby if he comes on in. But a godlike Natsumi here at 24 minutes. And I mean, they're ready to go high ground. What's gonna stop them? They don't have Aegis, but it doesn't seem like they care. Ooh, just able to connect there, but not quite. Still, Tier 3 tower is being assaulted, and we'll see what they can do. Still 20 seconds until they've got an Ember or a Sand King.
They're just going to lose racks for free. No Aegis, no problem. Polaris walk in, they walk out. There's some wave cutting going. Whitemon, yeah, T1 tower down mid.
Got it.
You know, you got to take the small wins if you're T1 right now, because they're not getting much.
Right. Yeah, and it's interesting, right? Because I think that so much of the other thing that we've been seeing is like the idea of early aggression being really good in Dota and stuff. And it feels like for Polaris, their idea is like, let's just try and farm up and then we'll make it happen afterwards. Which is interesting.
Yeah, they don't feel pressured to worry about how that, often I feel like in past patches or just in general, like we're saying, you can't draft weak lanes, or if you lose the lanes, you're going to lose the game. And here, Polaris didn't really care about how their lanes went too much. They didn't feel like they were under pressure. The Enchantress, did her thing in the lanes a bit, was 1v2ing in the enemy jungle, but it didn't phase Polaris at all. That just seemed like what they expected to happen in the lanes.
Oh, Carl. Oh,
just
barely off the mark, and
yeah.
that gets him away that time. Natsumi now looking for more white one. Everybody just runs away. As soon as they see that happen mid, they're all trying to separate and get the heck out of there. Zephyr
Connects
runs.
with the Yules. That's just like that chain stun, insta-gip combo.
Oh, yeah. Gabby. Ooh, spots him. Hoof stomp. Not quite there. Tumble his toy. Trying to jump away, but Zephyr finds the maneuverability to get out and just barely able to escape. My goodness.
Skin all right, teeth. And Whitemon got the tower. 2 towers for the edge. Let's go.
That's a little bit later than normal, but it's good, right?
Yeah. Tier 1 mid and tier... Yeah, this is what was meant to happen 20 minutes ago. Maybe, 18 minutes ago. Yeah, things not going according to plan. There's a lot of problems I don't know if they have the answer to. Like, this Shadow Demon gets more and more farmed, has Ags and almost an Aeon disc now with the Philosopher's Stone. Like, there is a lot of issues for Gabby in these fights, but has the Ags, and they're going to smoke up. I mean, you're playing against, like, this much farm. You have to get some kind of advantage. I think getting the jump is going to be the way they do that.
Right. You want to take this fight also before Roche is capable of respawning. Still a minute until it's actually going to be up right now. Polaris, though, they're staying together. Maybe we see T1 look for just, like, controlling this area so that way they can take the Roche fight when it does eventually happen. I feel like I've seen Carl do some pretty sneaky stuff around the pit before. Could be good.
That's what T1 Carl is definitely not having a good game here. Very quiet Ember performance, and Polaris reading T1, just kind of avoiding any kind of aggression right now and making sure they stick together as a 5-man team that's realizing that, this is potential Roche. They don't know when, for these teams, as far as they know, Roche could be up now.
Dyer's Curry
They spot him. Jump. This is about as good as they get. Cuckoo, can he make that happen? No, it doesn't quite look like it. The save is out. And Gabby trying to find 1 kill on Xavius, but he just pops the ulti, walks away. Broken, but the save comes in by Mavis right at the end, and he's able to walk away. Are you kidding me? They get out of there with everybody intact. No deaths at all. Unreal.
Yeah. They committed everything for, like, the supports. Like, first they committed everything to try going Mavis's IO. He gets saved by the Shadow Demon, which went, okay, we see the Shadow Demon now. We have a new target. Let's kill him. And Gabby's like, can't even finish him off. Maybe with an extra crit.
And they move on in again. And Natsumi, he didn't go for it. GG's called. They're done. It's too much. What a brilliant performance from Polaris.
Yeah. I was almost going to say after that team fight, I thought they might GG, and then it's Carl who gets picked off, who GG's out. That... When it's the player who just dies, who's calling the GG, you're like, uh-oh. Yeah. Not a good look. But I think, T1's a team. They got a very experienced veteran coach Marja behind them. They're going to, potentially be able to bounce back. But I think more than anything, Polaris look really freaking good.
And look at these game faces. They're just like, yeah, we're ready. We're going back in for round 2. No smiles on any faces. Kyle would be proud. Man. What a freaking brilliant performance. Natsumi 12-0-6. And I wanted to check out what the numbers were on stacking. Let me see if I can actually see what they did. Like 11 for Xavius, 4 for Mavis. It's just the economy game. They owned.
Yeah, they owned. And if you're T1, you have to find a way to punish it by playing more aggressive. They kind of tried. Like, I think Whitemon early on did all right, but they never really got things clicking with... I mean, Carl ends the game without a kill and assist. That says it all for them as a team, not to single out Carl. The whole team weren't able to find any kills, but things just did not click at all for T1 here.
Yeah, needing to go back to the drawing board, but for now, at least, Polaris able to take game number 1 of this best of 3 series.